what's the rents we can charge? How long is it going to take to lease up? We're on Radius Plus and Yardi, Matrix, and CoStar, seeing what storage is around. Is the market undersupplied, oversupplied? Just typical kind of underwriting stuff. And if it starts checking all those boxes, then we're excited to go. As you know, the past couple of years in self-storage has been just on fire. And every email I get from brokers is call for offers, call for offers. And there's 20 bids and it's over asking and all this stuff. And what we like about the conversions is it's pretty stealthy. It's kind of under the radar. And then all of a sudden there's a building in the middle of town that all of a sudden becomes storage. And there you go. So we didn't have to get in the dogfight with everybody else. And we also get to bring the heavy value add aspect is we are general contractors, commercial unlimited license. So it's in our wheelhouse to do the build out. We're not relying on a GC, and we know all the issues with supply chain and inflation and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we're feeling all those pains, but certainly would have been a lot worse had we had to hire that out.
Well, for sure.
So that's kind of our secret sauce is we can spot them, we can underwrite them, and then we have the GC part to build them out.
Right. No, that's an awesome combination there. What is the typical from buy to break even occupancy? Like what that timeline do you look at across?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we look, this year has been frustrating because projects have taken longer than we projected, which is frustrating for us. And, but so we're underwriting basically when we close on the property, figure renting units 10 to 12 months from that date. And then depending on the market, lease up, and we're probably covering the nut about 12 to 18 months after that. So from closing on the deal to in the black, let's call it 30 months.
30 months. How does a lender look at that? Or do you guys private finance this? Do you finance it yourself? What's that look like on these deals?
Yeah, we're going through local banks. We've got relationships with local banks, credit unions, that kind of thing. And we're financing 75 to 80% of the loan to cost because they know, typically all of our appraisals have shown, in some cases, we're buying the building under appraised value. So we're already walking in the door with a little bit of equity. As soon as we get the build out done, which is on us to do, there's a big jump in equity. And then, of course, as you lease up and stabilize it, that's the biggest. So you kind of get a little piece of equity along the way. And so banks like it. And that we've got a track record now. So it helped having built storage in Arizona 16 years ago. And now it's, we've got several conversions under our belt that we can say, look, we're doing it and we've done it. And here's where we're at.
Did it take a lot of lender shopping in order to find one that understood what it was you were trying to do?
No, I mean, there's certainly lenders out there that like storage, and we just basically show them our underwriting feasibility study, show them that we've done our homework and we're the group to be able to do it. And I mean, some different lenders have buckets, right, that they get full, and hey, we're really putting a pause on storage development right now. If you want to buy an existing facility, we'll be happy to talk, but we've got too many ground up projects going, so we're probably going to cool off on that. And so we'll just pop over to another lender and say, hey, what's your appetite for storage development? And so I mean, I hear stories of guys calling 15 20 lenders. We've had nothing like that. Of course, there's brokers in this space, and we've used those guys in a couple cases, and they can help weed out some of the, wasted time. They already know some of the players in the Southeast that are hungry for storage and get it. And I mean, it's the asset class has come a long ways in 15, 20 years, right? I mean, lenders didn't want to touch it 20 years ago because it was just weird and looked like, temporary buildings. Why are we loaning on this? And now it's, they love it. So it's survived 2 recessions, and we'll see if it survives this one. Right. Absolutely. When it comes, I know getting out of the dogfight with everybody else, for everybody, fighting over the same asset, you guys have found your own unique way to get in. What do you estimate your cost
going to use the word savings, or maybe the price difference between what if you went out and bought something on market versus what you guys can convert a building and then put in storage for?
It's a little tough. I see what you're asking there. It's a little tough to nail it down just because different markets are, there's storage that is typically sold for $100, $110 a square foot. Rentable space is typically how they price it. There's stuff that's sold for $180, dollars a square foot, depending on if you're downtown Charlotte or Raleigh or Atlanta or what have you. So typically our projects, we're buying the building under $20 a square foot, which you can't even replace for that, right? So we're into that. And then our conversion is crept up to close to 40. So we're about all in for about $60, $65 a square foot, including soft costs. So we figure we're still at 60%, 50% loan to value.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's strong.
So one of the things that we talk about a lot on this show is, and it's right in the name of it, which is scalability, the ability to go and wash, rinse, repeat. Is that possible in your model? Or is it, hey, we're going to buy the building across the street from the brewery, and oh, by the way, there's a Kmart, and then building X, it seems like each of those would be its own unique project and not necessarily have repeatable steps in it. Or am I missing something?
No, it's surprising. Storage is pretty unsexy and pretty, non-glamorous. There's not a lot of moving parts to it. Right. So when we find these Kmarts, we just underwrite that we're going to have to replace the roof. We're going to gut the whole building. We're going to paint it inside and out, replace all the HVAC, all LED lighting, and then you put in storage units. So it's 8-10 subs tops, right?
Right.
Subcontractors. And so there is some metrics we can use there. Some of the dials turn a little bit depending on what we find, but it's surprising how much the projects are similar. It's like, well, we already know what it's going to take to do this. We already know what it's going to cost to do this. Like,